work in this industry because it's so difficult, but you also get to work with incredibly talented people from other countries that normally we wouldn't meet, but we did on this film. And it's a story that is universal. Everyone understands how important a family is. The most important. It's probably the only thing that you would die for. So our story deals with family. It's not with war. It's not with other subjects that we have touched on before. This is very, very personal. So Rambo finally has a family. And he is, for once in his life, he's wandered the whole world covered in blood, always torn apart by war, and he realizes war has wasted his life. So in his last remaining years, he just wants to take care of this family and watch them grow. The story, I don't want to give the whole story away, but something happens that is out of his control. And he still has problems from the wars. He has PTSD, which is a incurable, well, it is curable, but it's a mental condition that creates great stress. And when Gabrielle disappears, and he's told this by her grandmother, he starts to go back in time. He can't believe his world is being crushed. So he begins to revert back to the warrior, which he doesn't want to do. And this is where the story starts to build in momentum. And it's probably between this one and the first one, the most realistic of the entire Rambo journey. Well, you know, it's interesting because there's only been 2 Rambos in 31 years. It's pretty remarkable. And just when I think I'm finished, I watch the news, I see what I'm going through in my own life, and I think you know, other people are going through the same thing. I go, where does the warrior go when he's not needed anymore? Can he ever find happiness? Can he ever find peace? So that's what started to work in my mind. This was never about money, because usually, you know, we'll wake up and, oh, let's do a movie and make a lot of money. This is not that kind of movie. That's why it's a hard R instead of a PG. It's a story I think I needed to tell. Because when I saw him arrive home and walk down that road, I'm going, where is he going? Who's alive? Who's in that house? And it only took 11 years, so I'm a little slow. But we finally got it, yeah. So I just think it's important. I would like to follow this character, Rocky, right to the end. I've never seen, you know, a following a franchise until literally the very, very end. So I just love the characters, and they're my friends. I hate to let them go.
Bien, por favor.
Because this was not a statement about what's going on between the United States or Mexico. This is, Rambo and his family have lived on the border for 50 years. So this is just a natural area where he would live and where Gabrielle would travel to find friends. So we tried to keep it, this is not trying to make any statement about anything. As a matter of fact, the majority of the battle takes place in America. And it takes place on my ranch, which I think you're really going to enjoy the way he figures it out, that he creates a battlefield in America, in Arizona, something very, very unique. No, it's actually Instagram was a joke. Like my daughter said, oh, let's, you know, like get on Instagram, and I thought it was okay. And before I knew it, I thought it was fun. So it's my personality to just kind of like do very odd thing on Instagram. But are you asking, like, has it influenced the movie?
No, the way technology influences you
Yeah.
in keeping alive
Well, when I started out in films, I really believed it was more personal, more handmade. We didn't have technology. So, for example, when I would direct Rocky, the studio would say, you have 50,000 feet, period. Now, when we did Creed, because they're on tape, we had over 2 million feet. So when you have a lot less, you tend to be a little bit more specific, you rehearse more, you don't, you're more prepared. So I think technology has made things a little easier, but it also has given birth, and seriously, you got your comment on this, with the way actors have to learn to act today. There's a new form of acting with the green screen and technology where you don't have realism and you have to pretend. And I tried it, like when I was working with Robert Rodriguez, and he says, a giant monster is coming. Don't be afraid, it's huge. It's 100 meters tall. And he's holding a pencil. They're not superhuman, but they have something inside of them that makes them push past pain, which a lot of us have to do in our life. We just have to push past pain to get on with our life. And I'm sure everyone understands what that's like, raising a family, you have to push past it. But it's a very unique situation. I don't know if it would happen today. I think it's like, for example, if you were doing The Godfather today, who could you put in it? There's no Al Pacino, see what I mean? There's no young De Niro. Sometimes things happen at a perfect time that couldn't happen. Today they would not even make Rocky, for sure, 100%. They would not make Rocky. But back then, people tended to gamble. And they would write stories, more simpler stories than such big ones today, like some of these things with $200 or $300 million. But the thing with Rocky and Rambo, I look at, I have the strangest career in history, I think, I really do. Because it's not as though I'm admired as an actor, it's more of a symbol that Rocky represents something to people. And I happen to be around, and they identify. But when I see people, and people that are very ill, and they'll say, I listen to the music, or my mother was very sick with cancer, and I realize, wow, and I talk to my wife, I say, I'm not really an actor. I'm kind of something different, it's a blessing. And I think Rambo has a different aspect. It's about the one that's been thrown out. It's about loneliness and isolation. Like the warrior is asked to protect, and then when he does, nobody wants him to come home. We don't want to see you anymore. So he's like a lost child. Even though he's a big man, he's a lost child. That's why I think these two characters have hooked in, because they're not really acting pieces. They're more emotional, different.
To live so long with him.
Which one?
To live so long.
Oh, it's not easy. No. I've always said that Rocky is me after coffee, Rambo is me before coffee. What? Yeah, give me some coffee. I guess all good actors have a very unusual brain, and they can put things away, right, and use them when they need them, and then put them away. Their memories, their experiences. That's what makes an actor a little different. It's kind of a warehouse of all these things, good and bad. And I came up really hard, and I had a lot of violence in my life, and I use it. So I use it, but sometimes it comes out when it shouldn't, and it's difficult. But I think that, thank God for Rambo, because I can use this as kind of like something to just express. But I think certain actors, every actor, they think they can do everything. I wish they could, but there's just some things you do better than others. And I understand this kind of isolation and anger and that kind of thing. I get it. I know how to control it. But yeah, living with it a long time, and it's never gone away at all. It's never like mellowed. That's why I'm so happy to do this movie, because it's still there. You know, we still have that fire inside. We still have something to prove. You know what I mean? But yeah, living with it can be more difficult on other people, because I hear about it every day. My daughters go, "Quiet, Rambo. Stop. Oh, Rambo's home." Like that kind of thing. You know? It's terrible. Seriously. I go, "Come on, answer the phone." I go, "Why don't you answer it yourself, Rambo?" They don't care. They're afraid of nothing. What's the hardest part?
Yeah.
It's impossible. First of all, it's impossible. You know, actors are very strange people, and it is Carrie. I mean, you keep your characters. I mean, they're there. If she had to do something that she did 10 years ago, boom, couple minutes, and you know, it's in you. It's like a child you gave birth to. You created this thing. It sounds kind of like pompous. Oh, well, are you special? No, I'm not special. But we have a way of inventing things, because we live in kind of a fantasy world, and making them like our children. And Rambo's a tough kid to raise. Rocky's easy, Rambo's not. But what was the first part of your question?
Is it really the last movie?
Oh, the last one. You know, I've said that so many times. I thought the second one was the last one. Then I thought, okay, goodbye. Third one, see ya. Goodbye. Fourth one, no problem. I'm out of here. After, like, for example, Drago and, you know, in Russia, why can't everyone get along? Bye. No. I don't know. I think I'm just a liar. I just think I lie a lot. This is the last one, baby. He approaches them in a certain way, very, very protective, and all of them. He's always been that way. And in this movie, that's the main focal point, is that he's literally, you know, the house is run by women, and he enjoys it. It's funny, it's a different kind of sound. He feels protected. He finally feels like a father figure. And because I do that every day in my own house, it's something I could really relate to, and I understand how much and how important, because the house doesn't run without women, period. Actually, life in general doesn't run without women. But so it wasn't hard to come up with the story. All I had to do was just think about it and go, you know, this would be an amazing adventure and different, because it's not about war. Now that his war is over, this is about protecting his sanity and the two women he loves. Magic behind the filmmaking. I mean, it's really extraordinary what they can do. They can create an ocean out of one drop of water. But the one thing you can't duplicate is human emotion. So when you keep it really simple, and you keep it identifiable that you, and every one of you would do what Rambo could do if you could do it, then you have the audience with you. If every one of you could feel the way, like Rocky goes into the ring, he's scared to death. He's prepared to lose. And you all would feel the same way if you were walking into the ring. So it's identifiable. When the character becomes so strong that nothing can happen to him, and I've made this mistake in movies, you might as well go home. You don't feel anything for him, so you must identify with his weaknesses and help him along. Because strength is easy. Anyone can pretend they're strong, but when you're afraid, you have, like Rambo's not. He's not bulletproof. He could die, but what he's fighting for is worth dying for. But he doesn't want to. He's afraid. I just don't show it, but he's afraid. He's afraid. That's the way I think about it. I was going there like, I really have to think about this here. One mistake and I go, one mistake and I go. Anyway, to answer your question, there is certain, that's why I love watching the older films. They're much more in attune to human emotions. And we all share the same fears and wants and needs and loneliness and the need to be appreciated. We all have this in common. And if you can touch on those, the audience is with you. And that's why I still believe Rambo, as long as he stays humble, and he's an underdog, same with Rocky, there'll always be a home for him.
Bien, pues